Welcome in to the Arkansas Sports Network's Hometown Sports Football Preview, proudly presented by Arkansas Tech University, D3 Auto Sales, and Metcalf Trucking and Trailer Repair. Today we sit down with Magnolia Panthers head coach Adam Kirby. This Pigskin Preview is brought to you by the Magnolia Panthers Booster Club. And by Magnolia Motor Company on Highway 79 in Magnolia.
Welcome back into the Hometown Sports Arkansas Football Preview. I've got Coach Adam Kirby of the Magnolia Panthers here as we're going to talk a little bit about Magnolia football and the expectations that are coming with new coach Adam Kirby. Let's do this. I know I didn't run this down with you real quick, but tell a little bit about yourself. Give a little bit of your background before we get into it.
Yeah, I'm coming here. I've been here about 7 months. Came from Captain Shreve High School in Shreveport, Louisiana. Before that, I coached in college, at different places between Texas and Kansas. And then when we had our twins, I wanted to be a dad, so got into high school coaching. And was fortunate enough, I went to Captain Shreve as offensive coordinator, and our head coach took the principal's job, and I was elevated into that role. And then came here.
Magnolia has had some successes over the last few years. Mm-hmm. Coach King did a good job here. Tell us a little bit about what you know about what happened last year and in the previous years with Panthers.
I don't know much about what happened last year. We kind of tried to make it a point of emphasis that we're going to start new and start fresh. And obviously they ran a completely different offense than what I'm going to run and what I've ever been around. I've never coached in that offense. I've never played in it or anything. So we really kind of took it as an opportunity to say everybody's on a fresh, clean slate. And, we didn't look at any film from last year. I know that they've always been competitive. I certainly think that Coach King's done a good job of, building a program that's competitive week in and week out. But as far as what went on in the day-to-day, I've tried to make it as clean cut, and fresh start as I can. And we're trying to do it all the way.
So let's talk a little bit about your assistants. I like to talk about the assistants because there's so much that does go on with assistants from day to day. Mm-hmm. You're going to get the attention as the head coach, but there's so much that the assistants do to help you out.
Oh, yeah, we've got a great staff. We've had a couple guys that stayed, a couple guys that moved on that were great coaches as well. They just moved on with the change and the transition. But we were able to hire Justice Boone from Louisiana. He's coming up to be our defensive coordinator. He's been a defensive coordinator for a long time. He's coached in some big-time ball games down in Louisiana. I brought Dustin Rivera with me, who was with us at Shreve, to be our offensive coordinator. Played for me when I was coaching in Kansas. So there's some familiarity there with what we do on offense as well as how I am as a person, which I thought was important. When we're building this, and then we're able to hire Jordan Jones, played receiver at Arkansas from Smackover. He's coaching our receivers. We were able to hire Joey Lewis, who is a Magnolia guy, first year coaching, and he's been coaching like he's been doing it 30 years. He gets in there and is passionate, and that's really the big thing is I want guys in our program and guys coaching our kids that I would want around my boys. Yeah. We've got, my dog's up here running around all the time. We've got, right here. We've got, my kids are up here all the time. Coach Savage's kids are up here all the time. So we really tried to hire a staff that would fit into that family mold of who we'd want our kids being around. And I think we did that. And the kids have taken to it real well.
With you being new, I know people are going to be excited about what you expect to do here, what kind of offense, what kind of defense you expect to run. So tell us a little bit about what you think you're going to do this year.
Yeah, defense, we're going to be, multiple attacking. We're going to try to blitz a little bit more than they have in the past. Put pressure on, the O-line, the quarterback, things of that nature. But I was pretty dead set about, what I wanted in a defensive scheme, and Coach Boone checked all those boxes. Me being an O-line coach my whole career, I knew what caused me issues and things that kind of kept me up at night. And Coach Boone's going to bring an attacking style type defense to us. And then offensively, as I said, with what they did, that certainly has worked for them in the past, but it's just not something that I believe in. And so we're going to go to a multiple spread look, different personnel groupings, but in shotgun 100% of the time. And so try to air it out a little bit more. And our kids have taken to that. When you really look at it, Mark King was here for, I think, 6 years. John Painter was here for about 6 years. So you really look for 12 years, they've been kind of ground and pounding in the flex bone. And that's been part of the fun of the job, is getting to really see if we can do it and take the success we've had at Shreve here and see if we can kind of do it somewhere else in a different state, and if it really works, or if we just had good athletes at Shreve. And certainly our kids are excited about it, spreading it out a little bit more and getting a little bit more speed on the field, and just in different ways to give them the ball. And so it's been fun. It's been a challenge, trying to find a quarterback and teaching them how to run a slant and how to run a hitch, or how to break down a coverage and attack the space and things like that. But our kids have taken to it real well.
Let's talk about your kids. Let's talk about who's returning. Talk about some of these. Some of these that might be all conference type, maybe even all state type.
Yeah, well, right off the bat, we've got Chevis Johnson, who's going to be a junior for us. He was an all-state linebacker last year as a sophomore, named one of the state's top 50 players. I think it was by Hooten's magazine, if I'm not mistaken. Had over 110 tackles in 10 ball games as a sophomore. He's getting looks from some Power 5 schools. He's about 6'2", about 210, thick kid, runs real well. So I anticipate him having a good next 2 years. Ty Biddle on the offensive line has really stepped in. He was a defensive lineman his whole high school career. He's stepped into a tackle spot for us. George Jackson was an all-conference kid for us last year as a sophomore at D-line. Expecting a good year out of George. And then we got 2 running backs with Rodney Moore and J2, Damian Young. We call him J2. They both are very explosive, very good in the run game and in pass protection. Caleb Roach is a guy that can play anywhere on the field. He may be our best athlete that we've got as far as we can put him at receiver, running back. He can play DB. I bet he can play quarterback if we needed him to. Linebacker. He's just a great athlete. His 2 older brothers played here, both now at SAU. Tice Jackson's a freshman, will be a sophomore for us, who's really had a good summer at D-line and has really done a good job. On the D-line for us. I think he's going to be a big-time player for us the next 3 years. And then going down the list, Nick O'Gwen is a guy that came from basketball, a little shifty kid, receiver. Garrett Odell is going to be our starting center as a sophomore. Probably one of the highest football IQ kids I've ever coached. Real physical. Amari Scott's a linebacker, defensive back. And then you got Jace Wilson at receiver, Bubba Williams on linebacker, won the high jump state championship individual and was a part of our state championship track team. Vernon Tucker that played D-line, linebacker, tight end. So I'm really excited about this group and how hard they worked this summer.
You talked about athletes that you have down in Shreveport, which I know you have athletes down there. But you got some stuff to play with here as well.
Oh, yeah. No, we've got several kids on our team right now that could have played on that team for us last year at Shreve and been contributors, if not starters. So the athletes are definitely here. I think for us right now, it's, as I alluded to earlier, just getting them to understand the passing game, getting them to understand, splits and the alignment as far as your formations. Last couple of years, last 12 years, I guess, they've been foot to foot and three yards, and we're going sideline to sideline now. And why is that important? And we've definitely got the athletes to do it. I think it's going to come down to how quickly our guys pick it up.
Yeah. You talked about quarterback a little bit. Talk about quarterback play a little bit and what you're seeing out of what you're teaching right now.
Yeah, so last year's quarterback, Antonio Brooks, we call him Smoochie. He's moved to receiver for us now, and he's a great kid. Has worked his tail off, being a leader for us. He came from basketball after they got done in the state tournament. And so the two guys that are going to be battling it out are Walker Carter, who's going to be a junior, and Titus Nelson, who's going to be a sophomore. Right now they're neck and neck, very similar, kind of both tall, lanky kids, both have a good arm, both are great leaders, guys that do everything right off the field. So one of those two is going to have to win the team for us to move forward and kind of put in this attack that we're trying to put in on offense. And they're still learning every day, but the good thing about both of them is they want to learn offense, they want to learn the passing game concepts, they want to learn, they're both sending me clips on Twitter or things that they see from a quarterback's perspective. So I'm excited about both those two guys and seeing which one of those guys wins the team and helps us move forward.
Let's talk a little bit about the 5A South. Of course, you got back-to-back state champion Parkview in that conference. Tell us a little bit about what you know about the 5A South.
From everything I've seen, I'm new to Arkansas, so I don't want to put my hat in my mouth, so to speak. But you got Parkview, who's back-to-back state champs. Camden went to the semis last year. Lakeside, I think, went to the quarters. So I think it's big boy football every week, and I've known a couple of these coaches, being so close in Shreveport, coming up playing at the SAU 7-on-7, things like that, playing at different events up here where you run into Coach Outlaw at Texarkana and Coach Turner at Hope and Coach Vaughn at Camden and trying to schedule games and just stuff like that. So I knew of them a little bit, but then when you look at the tape and you see what they've done the last couple of years, I think Camden was a 10-game winner last year, Parkview obviously. And when I coached in college, having recruited Arkansas, about Brad Boulding and Bobby Boulding and their dad Buzz, and he's a legend. And so, it's just good coaches everywhere, and every single school in our conference has good coaches to where they're going to have their team ready every Friday night. It's going to be a tough game every Friday night, and that's the thing that excited me the most about taking the job is you look at it and it's a competition every single week. The job Coach Burnett's done at Hot Springs, it wasn't too long ago they weren't very good at all, and I think they went second round last year if I'm not mistaken. I think those were the 4 out of our district: Hot Springs, Lakeside, Camden, and Parkview. So, and what Coach Burnett's done at Hot Springs. I just think every single school's got great players, great coaches. Obviously, I can't speak to the rest of the state, all my cousins live in Alma, so I'm a little familiar with Alma, Van Buren, Fort Smith schools, but not enough to speak on them. But being from this area and coaching in Arklatex my whole career in high school, I can very honestly say I think South Arkansas now has some of the best football in the state.
Tell me about your schedule. Who do you get on the schedule this year?
We open up with Nashville at their place. Then we have a bye week 1. So 0, we got Nashville. Week 1, we got a bye. Then we go to Bauxite, to Hamburg. When I got here, they didn't have a schedule set. So we had to put the first 3 on the road. I think Nashville was actually the only one set, but they didn't have the next 2. So we got to go to Bauxite and to Hamburg. And then we open up with Arkansas High for conference in week 4. And after that, I couldn't tell you who we got. I know we got Hope for senior night, week 10,
and somewhere conference.
Somewhere, everything else. We got 4 home games, which will be a challenge, but I think that's part of the fun of the job. Is it's a new state, new challenge, new offense, new defense, new way of doing things, and getting people to understand that it doesn't mean that what was done here was wrong. It's just a new way of doing things.
Sure.
And I think that's part of the fun is in the challenge. So.
Finally, last question. It will be a successful season at Magnolia if
we play to our potential. That's really all I care about. I think too many coaches get in the mindset of wins and losses and helping themselves out. I couldn't tell you what my career record is. I want to help kids. I've alluded to with our staff, I've hired guys that want to help kids. And, this year it may be ugly because it's all new, but I think if we can get the kids on board, get them a little bit more mentally tough and play to our potential, I think it could be a special season. So we're going to focus one game at a time and focus on how we play and not who we play. I think that's been a big issue because Camden's obviously a big rivalry game here. Parkview being in the district, I want to see our kids go out and compete and play to our potential. And if we can do that and set the foundation for what we're trying to do, I think it'll be all in all a successful season, regardless if we win 3, 4, 8, 6, whatever. I think we're just trying right now to build the foundation on what we want this program to look like in 5 years. So I think if we can do that, I'll be happy.
Brand new Magnolia head coach Adam Kirby here, and I'm Brad Caldwell bringing you the Hometown Sports Arkansas football preview. And there's all kinds of content that you can get right here on YouTube and Facebook. Just join us, subscribe, and like our pages. We appreciate it. Coach Kirby, appreciate you for joining me.
Thank you.
And we'll see you next time.
Thanks again for joining us on the Arkansas Sports Network's Hometown Sports Football Preview. Don't forget to like and subscribe to the Arkansas Sports Network on YouTube to catch more previews and all the latest updates on your favorite teams.